6 months, you're stuck inside here in Minnesota. So you better like where you're living. Yeah. Hi, my name is Kate, and this is my handmade home in Northfield, Minnesota. My husband's name is Mike, and I am a mom of 2 little girls. I got into DIY design pretty much when we moved into this house. I had been looking for 2 years for a house on a lake, and I looked in the house and I was like, this is it. It was old, it was smelly, but everything that I saw looked cosmetic and things that I could easily fix. So we just kind of DIY'd our way through the house. So this is the entryway. I wanted a big piece of artwork for this wall, but I didn't quite know exactly what I wanted until we took a door out from one of the rooms on the other side of the house. We also cut down trees in the backyard for a septic system. So I had Mike cut these wood rounds for me, and I put them on the door. And here is a big piece of artwork for the entryway, natural and free. I used to work as a waitress, and somebody was like, you need to go on Instagram. So I started to do it, and people started following me, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Here is the living room. This is the first thing that we did when we moved into the house. It was like a red brick, and so I painted it white. And then it really set the tone for creating all the spaces that are adjacent to it. My style is kind of a mix of a lot of different styles. I like modern design, but I also like vintage. A lot of people say that I have a lot of masculine touches to my spaces. Like literally every room that you can walk into, I have made something in. We wanted to get an art TV, and it was a little expensive. And I said, oh, well, we'll just make a frame, and I can buy a tapestry and cover it up when it's not in use. So if we want to watch TV, we just pull down, and it's on magnets, and then I can put it back up too. I love bringing outdoor elements inside, and something that you'll see scattered throughout my whole house are like just bowls of moss or dried hydrangeas or dried flowers, things like that. So here is the other side of the double-sided fireplace. This one goes into the dining room. This is another thing that Mike made me recently, a frame just to hang above the mantle, but I wanted it where I could easily interchange artwork on it. And this is a old piano reel. And then I have all of these books displayed here. I like to put the spines back because I like the look of it. People ask me all the time why I display the books this way. I think it's pretty. And if I need to go search for a book, I will go and literally search for that book. I love walking into a space, not looking at it to demolish it, but finding pieces in the space that can be enhanced to make it beautiful again. When we moved in, there was a stained glass window above the sink. All the cabinetry is existing cabinetry. The footprint is exactly the same as it was when we moved into the house. I had a vision of one big shelf in the space with lighting. It's not supposed to be functional, it's supposed to be pretty because we have other functional things in here. And then I found these rods from Amazon for like $10, and they came with the hooks. But I wanted to add a little leather detail. So I had these strips of leather in the house that I just cut up and hole punched and stuck the hooks through, and it adds, warmth to the space. And then this is a shelf I had in my daughter's room, and we just recently redid her room, and I didn't want to waste the shelves. I don't like to throw things away, and so I added some leather straps to it, and now it's a tray for the kitchen. Free. We will only tackle one room at a time. I never have a list of things that I'm gonna do. I just kind of spur of the moment, create. This room had the stained glass window that went into the kitchen. And then there was a window right here that looked into the main bedroom. So we took out the window, we just cut a door frame out, and then we put the wood paneling up on this wall, and Mike built these built-in. And I wanted a nice, cozy reading space, having mommy time in here. So I love a Moody Room. I think that adding a dark space to your home gives the room depth and feeling, and I love it. All right, now this is the main bedroom. We decided to put up some wood paneling as a headboard. There are 8-foot pieces of pine boards that I nailed into the wall and then stained, and it was super inexpensive. And then we added an acrylic frame to give it a little modern flair. We also made these nightstands, and I added a little leather element to them as well. I think of design as art. I'm constantly creating different elements to a space. This piece I found, I think I bought it for 40 bucks, and it was like a light oak color, and I wanted to change it up. And so I painted it. I think I did 1 coat of a matte black paint on it and then just sanded it in random spots. I wanted it to feel really old as the piece was, but give it kind of that modern edge to it. And so now we have this new display cabinet for $40. This is probably one of my favorite rooms in the house. It's literally walls of windows for you to look at nature. And I mean, I get to look out at the lake and see people doing all the fun stuff that they do. Snowmobile, ice fishing, snowshoe. Just the other day, we had a coyote sitting in the backyard. This room used to be a really, really light wood paneling. It wasn't necessarily my style. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit darker stain, an espresso stain, grab a paintbrush, and I started painting it on, but I love how it turned out. I mean, it pretty much looks black, but there's a sheen to it, and you can still see the knots in the wood. This is the COVID basement. When we first went into lockdown, I was like, okay, well, we have time. I wanted this wall to be a huge focal point for the room. So Mike built me these huge built-ins, and he did a phenomenal job with it. Tons of storage on the bottom. And then I made these leather pulls for all of the doors. And there are some that I made for the bar area, so it all coincides. I have 2 small kids, and they are only allowed to have their toys in designated spots for them to be them and to be creative. So I decided to turn a closet into a secret hideout kids room and just made a little kitchenette for the kids to play with. And then we found some LED string lights, and Mike and I drilled holes, and then we stapled them in very carefully, but it looks like a night sky, which is what I wanted for the kids to be able to play with in here. Dun, 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 dun. This is the creepy room. We had this paneling up here, and we left the basement how it was for years. And then one day I said, hey, Mike, can we rip the paneling down? And there was this cutout in the drywall. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I was like, there has to be something behind it. Let's take it out. So we unscrewed the drywall, and there was a sheet of plastic here. And so we cut into the plastic and we peeked in, and there was a room back there. And it was so creepy. It had this tin red ceiling that was rusted, and water had gotten into it. And so it had like dripped rust on the walls, and it looked like blood was coming down. It was so creepy. So we're like, what did they use this for? And then I found a bobby pin. Whose bobby pin is this? Like, was somebody trying to get loose? What was this room? What happened? And so I didn't pick up the bobby pin for months while I was doing the room. I would find bobby pins randomly from then on. I went to work on some dressers that I had gotten, and I was refinishing it, and I opened the drawer, and there was a bobby pin. Where is the bobby pin coming from? So yeah, it's scary. And Mike technically wanted to board it back up. And I said, no, you can't board up space in your house. We have to do something with it. So I was like, wine cellar. So that is what we did. We made a wine cellar. Come on in. The first thing that we did, I painted all the walls, and then we put new tin up on the ceiling. And Mike ran the electrical to go into 2 different sconces. that I wanted to flank all the display of the wine. I was like, I am going to buy wine now that can actually go in a wine cellar and that can age. How much of this do you think is that wine? I have maybe like 6 bottles. I want people to feel comfortable and relaxed when they're in my home. I like it to be unique and one of a kind, and I think it provides more meaning. I don't have an aha vision of a space. It's layering different elements one at a time until it all feels right. And I'm always changing things around, and things are moving into different spots. And my husband is like, it wouldn't be a day if you didn't have me move something. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Handmade for more home tours like this.